I'm finding as we're talking your journey, and I know there's a lot you're not saying, because to get from that moment as a child to where you are now means you have had some very special people in your life to help you navigate it all.
Yeah.
Some people call them mentors. Do you have mentors in your life?
Oh yeah. Ed K. Martin was my he was my acting teacher. He was a bastard.
Oh, why?
Oh my God, he would like, stop, you weren't ready to speak, and get that shit off my stage. I mean, oh my God.
Did he make people cry?
Oh God, he would make people would run out of the theater just weeping, and one night,
And you're laughing.
oh my God, because it was like he had, like a musician who has perfect pitch, and someone is playing flat. It drives him nuts. Yeah. He had perfect pitch for truth. And so you were making shit up. He was like, he couldn't stand it. And he would just have to react. And I mean, I would have to, we would do class and I would have to go out and get drunk just because it was so uncomfortable, just ripping ripping your covers off again and again and again, and just having your innards toyed with. And one night I was out drinking and I had a couple in me, and I told my days, wait, we left class and I said, I'll be back. And I went to a payphone. And
Payphones. I miss them.
And I called Ed and I said, Ed, I got to stop. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. I just can't. It's too painful. And he said, no, you can't quit. I said, I have to. He says, no, you can't. I said, why can't I? He says, well, the only reason I'm so hard on you is because I see what's in you. And I'll push you and until you get a chance to get it all out. And so, so I didn't.
Well,
quit.
that was a lovely moment, though. He wasn't screaming at you and why are you calling? There was that moment of support.
Oh yeah, he did
support.
it out of love. It's just that it would never fly today because I mean the young actors, not all of them, but some of them are just so like, oh, don't raise your voice to me. I mean, I had to stop being an acting teacher because it's like, I don't know how to teach you.
A little sensitive.
A little sensitive.
People, yeah. But what does that say for the next generation of actors now? I mean, come on. Well, maybe you need to be like your teacher. And those souls.
Oh, I can be like my teacher, but I won't have any students. Right? Josh Baton, he is the acting teacher to go to right now.
Okay.
He teaches in North Hollywood, and he's a Meisner master, and he's got heart and passion, and he's not a bastard.
Well, I always like to acknowledge mentors, so I'm glad that you mentioned him.
And there are others. There's a woman, Deborah Clydesdale, who is she was a protege of Peter Levine, who wrote Taming the Tiger. He's one of the two main somatic trauma recovery people. And that was, she helped me in ways I can't even begin to tell you. It's just like to let go of some of the baggage that we carry around.
The trauma.
Yeah. And Janer Eldridge was a voice teacher that I worked with. And I would go and sing.
Do you have a voice, or was that more for breathing? Learning to breathe.
I apparently have a voice, but I sang German Lieder and opera with her because that's what she always thought I should sing. And every once in a while, I'd bring in a Leonard Cohen song or something and sing that. But she was someone who all these people have big, passionate hearts.
Yes.
And they're not afraid to love. And to care for someone else and to to honor the truth that's in themselves as it resonates with the truth that they see in someone else, So
I would like to know, speaking of those truthful moments, because again, everything that you've experienced has led you to the role of Cyrus Renault.
That's a sad way of putting it.
It's not a sad way, but this role, it's so delicious. The role of Cyrus Renault, it's not common on the daytime landscape. Back in the day, an authentic villain was par for the course. Now, not so much. And I don't know if they kind of want to back off, back away from that. The darkness of it, the shadows, the complexity. Like Cyrus was not black and white. Extraordinarily complex. Where one day you thought, oh, he's changed his tune, and from an audience's perspective, you were on board, and then the next day he does this or he says that, and kudos to the writers for giving you the gold.
Yeah.
To work with.
Yeah.
But I'm going to work back and ask you, how did you find out? Okay, this is the end for Cyrus.
Well, they had me start killing people.
Oh, so
I read a script and I go like, I'm injecting someone in their hospital bed with digitalis, and
we've heard that word, Jeff, so many times. People took shots every time they heard that word.
And we'd all be drunk,
goodness.
wouldn't we? And I went, okay. And I just said, I got to talk to Frank Valentini.
Yes.
And I said, Frank, what's happening? I mean, there's no coming back from this, man. Well, I think we've taken it as far as we can, Jeff. I think, really? Do I have anything to say about this? No. So I had to go ask. They just, because we had new writers and then new writers again.
Yes.
And Cyrus got pushed aside for a while and wasn't written for a while, and other characters too, same. And then all of a sudden they start writing for him, and the good news is, here's what was fascinating for me, because they had Cyrus when they sent the first time they got rid of me. They sent me to prison.
Yes.
And they made sure in the script to say, and he's going to the Supermax prison in the Midwest, far enough away that no one's going to visit him.
That was in the script. Okay, well, there you go.
It was like, okay, I guess I'm not going to be working
You're off
for a while. Yeah, I'm off. And then I found out I was going to prison. I said, well, Frank, I think Cyrus just has to find the Lord, don't you think? Said,
you suggested that?
And he said, that'll never happen. And of course, then it happened.
And lo and behold.
I don't know if someone else, I don't know.
Now, did you say that to try to keep Cyrus on the show? Like redemption, like true redemption?
Well, yeah. But see, here's what happened. Then they wrote it to where you didn't really know if he was or not.
You never fooled me.
Well,
Cyrus never fooled me.
I tried to play it as
fooled a lot of people.
I tried to pull it as a man of God. I tried to play that. But I was trying to be nice. And then when I found out that I was going to die, the next episode I did, I just got in some, I got in Jeannie and Fanula. I got in their faces, and I was there, and I was just like, I was vibing the hell out of them, and whatever the dialogue was, I didn't care. I was just like, I was full in, and I realized I'd been acting nice, and I went, oh, thank God I'm not going to act nice anymore. I'd rather do almost anything than act nice anymore. So then I was like, if I ever found the Lord, he's gone now. Or I'm the avenging angel, or whatever.
Finola. She is.
Isn't she something?
Yeah.
She's very special.
Was it last year or the year before Michelle Stafford won for Best Actress? And she went up and got the award. And she turns to Finola and she says, everybody knows in this room that Finola Hughes is the best fucking actress in this room. And everyone just, applause. Because I think people hold her in that kind of high regard.
Oh my God.
And she, to watch her is just, you just don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, and to get to play with her is like, she's like, oh my God, you're a force.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But you have that knack as well of, I'm not sure where he's going with this.
If you're not sure where you're going, then the audience isn't sure where you're going. And
yes.
And working on a soap it's like doing theater without rehearsal.
I've heard you say that before, and that just nails it.
Because it's you get one shot. They've got you walk through it in the morning, and you go get ready, and you come back and you walk through it one more time, and then you do it one take, 4 cameras. And as long as you're off screen when you fall down, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
They can cut around it. And I when I'm careful, I suck. I do not do fake well. And so I challenged myself when I got the job to just fill yourself up and let it rip and hope for the best. And so when I'm able to do that, when I've been able to do that, then it's like, I can't believe I'm doing that. But that's what I'm doing. And they let you get away with murder.
Literally.
Literally. But it's because they wrote the words and then they give you permission. So that, which goes back to talking about auditions earlier. You go into an audition and you're trying to please these people. They don't know what they're looking for. They just want to have an experience. They want you, the best thing you can have when you leave the room. We used to go to rooms to have auditions. Now it's all online, but it was for them to go like, wait, what happened? I don't know what happened, but I know my attention was captured for 2 minutes or whatever it is. So, and that comes from just being fully alive and dangerous,
and not looking for that approval.
No, looking for it's and again, to put it in spiritual terms, what I think we're always looking for, and what audiences respond to, is the experience of flow. Because flow is what. Spiritual terms, there is the world of the spirit that is just pure being, and then there's the world of relativity, which is separation. And bringing the two together is to find that experience of pure being in the world of separation or relativity and connect like a battery from one pole to the other. So that's why Meisner works, is because you're connecting from this base or this pole to that base or that pole and allowing that energy to flow through you. And that's life. That's what life is that flow of energy. And it's the flow of the divine in the relative world. And that's what people react to in good acting. And that's what actors dig when they're able to throw themselves into the unknown. Because if you look at every time you've done something that was better than you knew you could do, because you didn't know what you were doing. and because the situation called for you to be better than you were, to be more than you thought you could be, to just like take a chance and challenge yourself. So
with Eda McCoy, she's 21, Jeff.
And she is so together.
She's been on the show for 10 years.
Well, she's one of those actors who she's a formidable opponent. Yeah.
In those scenes,
so mature for
Joss and Cyrus were just. We were scared for her. We were scared for Joss.
I was never
she
scared
was
for
just
her.
not. I know you were. She was just not going to let Cyrus go.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you had any input regarding this, so I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Joss is, broken into the cabin, and she's looking for anything. The door opens, and Cyrus is in the doorway. And there's moonlight or whatever the evening light is silhouetting him. Completely freaks me out even talking about it, because it was a cinematic moment. And I don't know whose choice it was to come up with this particular scenario. But there's Cyrus in the doorway and just sees. I think she takes the gun out. I'm not sure. But then Cyrus disappears. Mm-hmm. And now the audience is, and comes back with the hatchet.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, Jeff, the audience lost their minds, because that was we knew this moment was going to happen, but not like this.
Yeah, it was even, I was thrilled with the way they.
So you didn't have, Frank,
I had
here's
nothing
what I
to-
think. What do you think about this?
No.
This is what they gave you.
No. I mean, you get a lot of leeway in like the scenes earlier with Rebecca. That was, you've got to be here by the end of the scene, and you're going to start here, and and I finally, after a year or so, learned that you have to that the cameras are all over here. You can't turn your back to them. But then you're given freedom to play. But that was like, you're going to do this, then you're going to do that, then you're going to do this. Yeah.
So the scene with Rebecca.
Uh-huh.
And, people who know me, and I've been watching GH since I was in high school, I have never been a fan of Elizabeth. Love Rebecca. Clearly she's doing her job.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I'm just never been a fan. But holy cannoli.
She really brought it, didn't
Holy
she?
cannoli.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. When I saw her like have compassion for this guy and like get it. And she wasn't just like, mollifying Cyrus to keep him away. She was like really engaging me in having this conversation and really trying to understand. She was being just inordinately human. And I was just so happy for that. We just really got to play. And then it got to go to places I didn't imagine it was going to go to. So,
yeah, there were so many colors in Cyrus during that interaction of recognizing that someone understands. I'm not alone. Someone, there was that expression on Cyrus's face of.
Well, there's someone who was actually hearing him. And the kind of passion he had for what's her name? Who's Laura's daughter, who's been
Lulu.
Lulu's
Yes.
been in a coma for 4 years. What about her? And I was like an advocate for her, And
It was a perfect, again, kudos to the writers because they used that scene to answer so many questions.
yeah.
Well, what about Sam? Why Sam? Why Dex? And Cyrus explained because
And it was just pure exposition.
absolutely,
But
which can be really not
it
it is very difficult to do.
It's deadly. It can be
Yes.
deadly. But she was so present, we just got to play with it, and it became alive. And it was like, and you talk about Meisner. When in Meisner, you know what your intention is with the other person. And I have an emotional intention with you. You have to get it. You have to understand. You not just understand, but you have to feel as much about this as I do. Then this just becomes ammunition. These are just the tools you have to get that intention from your partner. So.
Magic, Jeannie Francis, Michael E. Knight, and you. Truly, this triangle, there could not have been better casting. The three of you, Laura, she's got these two brothers that she never knew about. I mean, the storyline at first was, Michael E. Knight, we have loved him from day one, from Almost,
forever,
right?
Yeah.
So we knew it was going to be good. And he comes on with a Southern accent for a little while, but he's just gold. But did you feel that? Did you feel the chemistry between you?
Oh,
and the
yeah,
two of
because
them?
everyone was just like, oh, I get to play, I better bring it because they're over there. And Michael and I have known each other for a long time.
Have you?
So, yeah. So that was like, oh my God,
Oh,
come
how
on.
fun.
Oh God. The scenes where he and I just got to be brothers
Yes.
was just, those were gold.
So from here in LA, you knew him in
Yeah,
New
from
York?
here in LA.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. What was it like with Jeannie?
Yeah, she's
She's the OG.
she's the queen.
She is.
She is just the queen.
She's the matriarch of that show.
And she, she let me in. She let me, she was willing to go anywhere I was willing to go. It was just fantastic. I never had a bad scene with Jeannie. Because, some actors can be, it's like when you meet someone at a party and they're shaking your hand and looking over your shoulder for someone more interesting.
Yeah.
Some actors can be that way. Jeannie is like opposite of that. She's like, there's someone here I get to play. Oh, there's someone who's actually going to just be in my face. Fantastic.
Yeah, because she gives it
Oh my
right
God.
back.
Yeah. Just like, because I had a friend who directed her off Broadway many years ago. And, Jane, who did Defying Gravity? Jane, playwright Jane. And she's an actor. She's an actor's actor. So, on a soap, I'm sure she's done every storyline there is to do at least 20 times. So,
But she always
had
brings
never
fire.
done the I have a half brother who's a serial killer storyline, and she was like, "Okay, let's have fun here."
Yeah. That relationship between the three of you will be sorely missed.
Yeah.
Sorely missed. Because whenever Daytime does a good family storyline, it's gold. And that's what Y&R does best. Their familial storylines are gold. It resonates with the audience.
Yeah.
Because you have generations of people who have watched these shows. So family matters. Family stories matter. So that will be missed. Our dear friend Maurice Bernard, talk about your experience working with him.
Yeah, he was the first person I worked with on that show.
Okay.
We had, I think, 5 scenes um, on a phone in the visiting room of the prison, and I was in a jumpsuit, and Mo and Steve Burton,
Mo.
they're both equally as committed to never giving an inch, and it's just like it's like I would try to get a rise out of him, and I just couldn't. It's like, oh, and just he. It was my, you know, when you've never done a soap, you think there's some special kind of acting you're supposed to do or something. At least I did. You know, you have those long gazes at the end of the take.
Dun, dun, dun.
Where do you learn how to do that? Because I missed that class. But with Maurice, we did the scene once, and they said, "Okay, moving on." I went, "What? Yeah, we're doing it. Doing the next scene." Okay, then we did the second scene one time. They said, "Okay, we got it." Move, and I went, "Seriously?" and then we did the third one. They said, "Oh, okay, we got it." And I said, "This is fucking nuts." And I forgot that I was Mike. And so everyone, just the whole crew was waiting for that to happen, because anyone who comes on the show doesn't know what's going to happen, you know.
Welcome to daytime dramas.
So Maurice was part of that, and he laughed. It was like, because he's been doing it for 30-some years. You know, he told me the most fascinating thing, and I'm not talking out of school. He talked about this in his book. He got comfortable enough to act on the show without anxiety maybe 6 years ago. I mean, he'd been in anxious, you know, like it's the terror of being found out, which I'm, you know, speak of from experience. Like, if someone sees who I really am, they're gonna show me the door. And you know, he's a fascinating cat.
I just so appreciate his generosity when it comes to his story, sharing his story.
Yeah,
because everyone's story matters when it comes to mental health. Those experiences and those stories, that truth needs to be heard.
Yeah, because what people see is someone who's clearly self-possessed, strong, capable. Excuse me. And what's going on inside is, it has been a mess. You know, and we messes have to stick together.
Before we could, there's so much more I would love to talk to you about, but
Another time. When you get your talk show.
Actually, I have a whole series in mind for you, podcast series in mind for you. So we will talk about that. Has Cyrus, or what has the character of Cyrus taught you, Jeff Kober? As an artist, as a creative, as a human?
It taught me. It taught me to trust even more deeply in the moment, and to be free enough to go with what wants to happen rather than what I think is supposed to happen. And just there's something that it really taught me about freedom and about, and I've had this experience with other roles, but even more so with Cyrus, is that, bad guys aren't bad. They're just, they behave poorly, but it's not twirling your mustache and like being evil. It's doing what you're doing and doing it for really specific and human reasons. And one of the things that I really related to with Cyrus is, in the great epics from India, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, they have these evil characters, and the evil characters are treated with dignity and respect, because it's only by having extreme darkness that extreme light is born within the human spirit. And so they're absolutely an essential part of storytelling and an essential part of being a human. And, and Cyrus, no matter how much we tried to redeem him, he was not redeemable. And as uncomfortable as that could be, because as you said, there's not a lot of villains in that I got to know in daytime. Cyrus was villainous, and the thing about him, his villainy is every social situation he would walk into, people would go like, "Oh God, Cyrus."
We just egged him on even more.
Oh, it's like, but it was like, come on, guys, I just want to belong.
I'm just busting the table here.
And I remember once Jeannie said, "Oh, it's hard, isn't it?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to need therapy after this job's over." Everyone's like rolling their eyes at me and sneering, So I learned that I still need love. and I learned that evil is not evil. It's just, it's evil in context. Within context, it's just another guy trying to, make a living, and it just gave me so much permission to trust the process of acting and the process of telling a story that. If you have it grounded in reality and connected to another human being, you can't make a mistake. There are some ways that might be more interesting than others, but you got one shot. This is as interesting as it gets, So
that's an amazing truth to go forward as an actor and know. First time out, I'm going to nail it. I'm going to do it all. If there's a second take and a third take and a fourth take with film and even television, then you can do that. But just start out the gate, running. That's brave.
And then you set the tone.
Yeah, absolutely. Set the bar, you set the tone. Yeah.
I'll mention one other actor who was ended up being a mentor to me, even though he didn't know it, was Andrew Lincoln from Walking Dead. That cat was number one on the call sheet, and he was 100% there every moment, on screen, off screen. He carried that show on his back by being the example for cast and crew alike. Andy's been here for 16 hours today. He's not complaining. I better not. So
Thank you.
Thank you. What a delight. I'm glad we finally got to do this.
Are there, you've got an Instagram. So
I do.
what's
Jeff
the
Kober
handle?
Meditation. And jeffkober.com, you can see my meditation teaching and my acting and my photography. And everybody, April 11th, the movie Grassland is dropping on Apple. And we're trying to get 5,000 pre-orders because they will all pile up and count on that single day. And if we get 5,000, we get into the Apple algorithm.
Nice.
So
What's the date again?
Grassland, April 11th.
Okay.
Pre-order now. I'm sure that Tami will put it in the show notes. The link for pre-ordering.
Absolutely. I want to thank everyone who's watching. For those folks who are listening to us, thank you for listening. The show will be airing soon, and you can find it on all your favorite, what are they called, streaming services, Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker. Thank you for joining us. It's been so much fun, I think, for the both of us. And be sure and look for more interviews and chats on Voices of Daytime. Until we meet again.
This episode of Voices of Daytime was brought to you by the producer, host, and writer, Tami Goveia, that's me, director, Joelle Harold, guest, Jeff Kober, editor, Marissa Serafini, and a special thanks to You Podcaster and the Elegant Living Room in Hollywood. You can find You Podcaster on Instagram for all of your podcast, audio, and video production. This has been a JLJ Media podcast.